Hey guys, it's Amy. Welcome back to Jerry's Live. Welcome to Watercolor Pencils, Sticks, and Crayons today. We've got a lot of ground to cover, but it's all very colorful and fun. If you are not a member of our Facebook Live group, Jerry's Live, 810 members today, which is awesome. Consider joining after each of our shows. I post my notes that well, it's not like my I guess impressions of the product, right, Katie? But it's just the basic product notes, so that
it's clip notes.
It is. It's the cliff notes, so that if you're looking to buy some of these products and you can't remember everything that I've said, you don't have to either try to rewatch the video a bunch of times and take notes. You'll get my just regular notes besides minus the commentary, I guess would be the way to say it. So I put those up after we're all done. So that's something that the group only will get. So that's worth being a member for that. Plus you get to share your art with a bunch of really cool people. Thanks to all the new members that have joined. We've seen some really awesome artwork this week. It's been really cool. So that's there for your added educational and entertainment benefit, because I think it's pretty entertaining. So we were just commenting about John Batt's video that he put up of golden grinding paint and saying that we either wanted to roll it or eat it. We could not decide.
So mesmerizing.
It was very mesmerizing. So anyway, so that's there. So watercolor pencils, sticks, this whole gamut. I mean, even we're going to go into watercolor grounds, which if you're a watercolorist will benefit you besides just sticks. It was something that I didn't realize we had that in researching the show. Somehow it came up in a wacky search that I did on the website, and I was like, well, hey, people need to know about this too. So something that you can use in concert with these, if you use it on panels, or with some of the softer surfaces, if you put it on canvas, that you could use some of the sticks that are softer, or the crayons. So it's something really cool and new that is available where you could actually varnish it and leave it freestanding instead of having to put it behind glass. So it's just something kind of cool that I decided to add in. Watercolor pencils have not always been the, I guess, most archival medium that they have become today. It's really awesome. Manufacturers are stepping in and really upping the game. Before, they were kind of more for coloring, kind of more for maybe if you were going to do some mixed media. The regular pencils were really where you kind of got that good light fastness. So, and some of these brands still are not the light fastness that some of the professional ones are, and we'll discuss that. Consider if this is something that you want to get into, or if you even have them but you've not really used them, utilized them, put them through their paces. I want you to consider using color charts. We've talked about this with colored pencils, right? And I know you're saying Amy's harping on me to do more work again, which I am. And Katie's shaking her finger. It's the Amy lecture finger. It's really a wise idea to any paper you're going to be using these on to actually do color charts so you can see, where is the pigment going to break up as it becomes water soluble. You can see how dark do I need to make that stroke with the pencil, or kind of blend that area to get the most vibrancy out of it, because sometimes on some of the papers and with some of the brands, and if there's a lot of white in the color itself, it will just break up and be gone. So it's a really good idea to do those color charts for yourself. Also a good idea, before you start looking at buying these, look at the manufacturer's color chart online. We usually have a link. If you're wanting to do this and you're wanting to do this with fine art, do yourself the favor of making sure what you're getting is archival, because I'm here to tell you, people can say there's high permanence and good light fastness. What does that mean in comparison to what? There's always going to be, with pencils, some that are not completely light fast, others that are incredibly highly light fast. You want to make sure that for the most part, kind of across the board, there is a much better light fastness, kind of err on the side of caution with higher light fastness ratings than lower ones. If somebody doesn't have the light fastness ratings, and you can't find it even on the manufacturer's website, those are probably good for only doing mixed media, for doing journaling, for doing with kids, for doing coloring. you don't want to incorporate those into your long-term work, because watercolor is something that, if it's not light fast, goes away much quicker, because it's not in a binding, you know, a binder medium like oil or like acrylic resin that kind of helps protect it from fading much better than those heavier mediums do. So, so you definitely want access to those color charts before you make a decision. Another thing, if you're wanting to use these for, you know, fine art purposes, do they sell open stock for the brand? If not, okay, a set of 36 or 48 or 72 is gonna be great, but when you have favorites, everybody does, and you use them down to a nub and you wanna replace them, and then the company doesn't make open stock, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I know, you're gonna go buy a whole new set of, you know, 48. So that's something that you need to consider too, is this accessible to replace the pencils as I go through them? Same thing as we talked about with colored pencils. I've got a bunch of color charts as we go along. I think most of the brands that we're looking at, I've got charts for. Some of them will just scribble on some watercolor paper. I used a rough press paper. Why?
Pretty images.
Texture. It does make pretty images, but I can feel how soft is that watercolor pencil or stick as I go along that rough surface. How much do I have to really put on before it fills in those gaps in between, fills in kind of the little, you know, ego nooks and crannies of the paper, so to speak. I'm hungry, I'm sorry. You know, and also when you do it lighter, you just have like these kind of little scraps of pigment that are sitting on top of the high spots. It's easier to see when you go over it with that brush. How water soluble is it? Does it break up right away? Does it disappear? Do you still have those high spots that are still bold even with scrubbing? So hot press is really like the best, I think, test paper for this, for you to be able to see. Do you want to work on hot press paper? I'm gonna say probably not, unless you just really like the texture. But for me to show you color and show it most appropriately where you can make better educated buying decisions, definitely the hot press is what we want to go with. So when I've done it, what I've done is taken a space, I'm doing a half that's very heavy, half that's much lighter, just kind of lightly scrubbing across it, wetting only half of each of those areas. So you can see with that lighter, how much did you really need to put on there before you see the color, but you can still see what just the pencil itself looks like, because some people use these to enhance a watercolor painting. So you don't need, you know, it to be, yes, oh, we're waving. Yes.
So we're talking about maybe like things you can put it on. Somebody had already asked if you could use it on fabric. That's what I said. That was the face.
An oil pencil, yes. Like the like for the colored pencils, like the okay, when I take that back, you could use it on fabric as long as you're putting a watercolor medium on it. But that's going to soak in. That's going to give you something absorbent that's then going to trap the color and go from there. For just regular on fabric, straight fabric use with no sealant on it, with no primer on it, you're gonna wanna go with an oil-based color pencil instead. Look into those brands, because that's going to be your best bet of actually getting it in that fabric. Good question. All right, so let's go ahead and jump ahead. When you do these color charts, something to consider that I didn't with the first one I did, and I think it was just because it was 2 in the morning, and for some reason I thought, hey, color charts are a good idea at 2 in the morning. Use a waterproof pen to write the number of your watercolor pencil down. Before it kind of slopped over, and then it was like, oh, well, that's it. Thankfully I learned that on swatch number 2, not halfway through it and then made a big gooey mess. So, so note to self from Amy's interesting debacle, do that. Waterproof pen. All right, so Faber-Castell, the Albrecht Durer are their watercolor pencils. They make 2 versions of this. They make the just the regular pencil version where you've got, Katie, can you zoom in when you get a chance? Just because they're very pretty. You've got just the regular, you know, typical barrel pencil. These come in open stock and tin sets of 12, 24, 36, 60, and 120 pencils in just the tin boxes. A gift box set of 36 with a brush that's like a heavy duty, I think, cardstock box. And then a deluxe wood box set. Then, because if that color doesn't, I guess, move you, and you know, some people like bigger color, you can go with the Magnus. Just think of a stocky Scottish guy, and here you go, without the kilt. Lots of color. Don't make that face, Katie.
I'm not.
I saw you fondling the Magnus. So these come in 10 sets of 24 and 12. These just come in the sets. They don't come open stock like this. Now, these colors match the same numbers as these. So if you've got the 104, it goes over there to the 104. So, and these also match the color line from their regular colored pencils.
Oh, sweet.
Which also match the colors from any of their markers. So if you've got the number, you've got the same color. So it makes, if you're gonna do mixed media where you're gonna work with different mediums together, it makes it really nice for that. It makes this nice where you could do like some nice color washes and then go into their regular oil colored pencils. So yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about these. I know they're the hand fatigue. You know, using pencils, if you've got hand problems long term, look how nice and big that is. It's very comfortable. And because it's got those, all of their pencils have a hexagon to them, so it's not going to roll off your table when you're working, so it's not going to fall and break, but it makes it more comfortable to hold. The regular pencils have a 3.8 millimeter lead. That's actually a very large lead for the size of the pencil. That's a lot of lead. Not all the brands have that. The Magnus has a 5.3 millimeter lead, so that's quite sizable.
A lot of color.
That's Magnus. Vibrant pigments. Over 50% of the colors earn the highest light fastness ratings with the Faber-Castell pencils, which is very, very good for colored pencils. The ratings are actually marked on the pencils themselves. They have stars. The more stars on it, the higher the light fastness rating. So you can actually pick this up if you're trying to do something, you know, for archival or commission. You can check it before you use it, so you're not putting stuff on there that could potentially, you know, fade in 25 years. So, so that's a really good thing. They have a unique binder medium with that. It not only helps just kind of bind the color so then it becomes soluble very easily, but it also helps kind of keep that a nicer, tighter pencil so it's not going to crumble and make a mess as you're working. Their wood casings are sustainably farmed wood. They have a special bonding process in the barrels of all their pencils, graphite, the whole 9 yards, that reduces breakage. So even if you drop it, the likelihood that it's going to, you know, just be a piece where it's going to break everywhere in that pencil is very, very low. They are perfect for wet and dry techniques, smooth, color stroke, fully water soluble. And again, they're fully compatible with their line. Colored pencils, their hard pastels, everything that they've got. So that's a bonus. Katie, this is the one brand that I didn't get. This is how vibrant that is. And that was with these Magnus pencils. It's the one brand that I didn't realize that I had not gotten the full. That's very vibrant. And as we go along, if anybody wants to see brand against brand, as we get through all the colors, we can do that. They can shout out a couple brands and we'll show them. So you can see that breaks up pretty well. It's not kind of sitting on top of that surface once it's wet, and then it's very vibrant. So, and unlike regular watercolors, you don't have kind of more of that sheen from the gum Arabic because it doesn't have as much, because that would make it kind of gummy and hard to apply. But you can varnish them and things like that to give it a little bit of sheen. You're gonna drop the...
Hopefully not.
Don't drop the camera. All right.
It's always a balance of not trying to make people throw up and not trying to drop the camera.
Yeah. Throwing up's overrated. Let's not do that. All right. So that's Faber-Castell with the Albrecht Durer watercolor pencils that they make. We are going to go to the Caran the Supercolor II water. This is in no particular order. we're
Good
doing
point.
all the pencils, then we're doing the sticks, then we're doing the crayons, and then we'll go to the grounds. All right, this is quite a set, and it's very colorful. Like, I love Caran d'Ache's. Katie, can you come here? This is something, the one thing that I really kind of have not liked about Faber. I love Faber, and was my colored pencil thing of choice. They have tins.
Oh yeah, it doesn't wobble.
Yes, it doesn't wobble. The other things for the Faber are plastic. It'd be nice if they would upgrade their. So even the other layers in between, it is heavier carrying, but it's tin, so it barely wobbles and moves. It's not plastic where you pull it out and pencils start popping and flying out at you. So that's the Supercolor II. These come in open stock in tin sets of 30, 40, 80, and 120. Wood box sets of 60 and 80. And a wood box set of their Pablo colored pencil and their Supercolor II pencils where you get 80 and 80. So if you wanted to do some kind of mixed media between the two, that would help. The leads are slightly smaller, 3.6 millimeters, but it's still, a decent size in it. Excellent light fastness, exceptional covering power, color-coded barrels, so you pick up, it's not like a dark color where it's dipped. You pick up the pencil, the barrels actually match the lead itself, which we'll get to that. There's one brand, I love how the pencils work.
Match.
The freaking dipped handles don't match it. It just makes me crazy.
Just find out if you work with it for a while, but when you're trying to learn it.
Yes, when you're trying to learn it, it does not help. The barrels on these are crafted from California cedar. Why does that matter? Because cedar sharpens really nicely. It doesn't break, it doesn't crack, it doesn't chip. And when you bond that lead in with it, it provides kind of the best safety for the lead keeping from getting broken. Okay. They say ideal for mixed media work, watercolor washes, and effects. Here is the full set of 120. I really liked how it laid down. You could fill without really cramming it in there. Some of them are not as soft. This one was not soft, but it wasn't hard. You could really get the color down in the texture of the paper without a lot of fighting. I know. Okay, blues and yellows and greens are and oranges. Good God, look at that.
That's a lot of colors.
That's a lot of colors, but look at how vivid that is and how bright that is. There's one thing I noticed with them that as I worked with other brands, this was one of the first ones that I did. Even when they put a lot of white in the colors, you can see that this isn't quite as vibrant as these obviously don't have a lot of white. This has white. That's still got a lot of pigment in it with the other color. Some of the other ones, as we go along, you're gonna see just go pff, and disappear. I mean, look at that's got a lot of white because that's a kind of a grayed down pink. And you still have color with that. It's still a really nice fleshy color. So I was very impressed by that. And their white is dark enough where you can actually see it on the paper, which some of the whites, it was just like, where did I even put the color down? Where'd it go? So, and these aren't their top of the line pencil either. This is not their museum quality. This is their their big set of kind of, their workhorse watercolor pencils. So, I actually was very impressed by some of the brands. As you go and you color them and then you add the water, it's like, well, it's wet, it's juicy, it's beautiful, it just makes you happy, and then it dries and you're like,
where'd it go?
Now dry, I will say these are not quite as poppy as some of the other ones you'll see, but it's a watercolor pencil. That's not as important, right? So, and you could sharpen them, get nice hard points, which is good because sometimes with watercolor pencils, it's soft and it doesn't hold a decent point. So that was the Supercolor II. Oranges.
Those are, yeah.
Yes. It makes me have a little tear when the oranges don't come out right. Oranges or Prussian blues, just way too black. All right, so we put that there. Next, the Prismacolor watercolor pencil sets. Prismacolor, a lot of people have known them over time for just the regular colored pencils. They don't go into the watercolor. It's like the watercolor, they're kind of doing it as a, oh, well, we probably ought to make this. Only come in sets of 12, 24, and 36. We don't have any of the open stock. I don't even know if they offer it in the open stock. It does match the other Prismacolor media, so the colors are supposed to match across their line, which at least that's good because it gives you kind of the option of the two. It says light fast, blend wet for vivid washes, dry for traditional techniques, perfect for mixed media since it matches their other pencils. But Katie, can you show these?
I'm trying to make sure everybody that can't find us.
Okay, they don't say how big their leads are because they're not. It's like a little pencil, and then just using it the littlest bit, which if you sharpened it with a longer point, you would have like no color. They would snap. It's a bitsy, and
You can't see
you can't. What color is it? And it's in these little plastic trays. Which yes, it's just. I shouldn't expect that. It's only a set of 36, so I don't know why I'm expecting more. This is more for coloring and things like that. Just, you know, your mixed media where you're not being really serious and specific. Now those aren't not vibrant. I mean, but this is not a very wide, extensive color line. To me, not a lot of really nice darks. I mean, the black isn't. Some of the blacks on these like will throat punch you, and that's really not. It's okay. You'll hear way more, Frida. You know me. You should know better. Frida's used to an even less filtered version.
Yeah.
So I mean, it gets the job done. There's just not, you know, as extensive of it. If you're wanting to do this for commissions, for fine art, to really go somewhere, do something with it, this probably isn't the set for you. Great set for kids, or you know, something like that. Yes, that would be for just funning around. All right, I'm trying to keep these kind of in a row so I know. Yeah, don't drop it. Yeah, I don't even know if we showed that in the after party. We dropped a whole bunch of pencils.
Yeah.
Hey, that was me. Yeah, there is an after party to this, so which was entertaining. Mike enjoyed that. Okay, so all right, so we saw the super color, which seemed very impressive. This is their Museum Aquarelle. They actually have designed these with top watercolor artists. All of this is actually watercolor in a pencil.
Those are pretty.
Yes. Well, and this is just like the big Caran dash, the really fancy pencils that I ended up loving, right?
Mm-hmm.
These have a foam insert on the back of each of these trays, which they are a heavy cardstock, but it's got foam inserts, so it's not a heavy set for lugging around. So that's a very, very nice color selection. It also comes with two of their Technolo pencils, which are basically a water-soluble graphite.
Oh, cool.
So you've got that for drawing. Open stock with sets of 12, 20, 40, and 76. That does not sound like a lot because some of the other ones have like up to 120, but consider that these are actually watercolor, real watercolor pencils, not water-soluble leads like some of the other brands. So you can mix and match and make your own colors with it, just like you can with watercolor. The leads are very large on it. Let's find one where I haven't ground down as much. You should be able to see that pretty well. Can you see that okay? It's at an angle, but that's a 3.8 millimeter lead, so it's pretty decent size. They're soft and smooth. It says they contain mineral fillers and natural binders. Hexagon shape, so it's not going to roll. The light fastness ratings are stamped on the pencils themselves.
Oops, stars.
Here. So you know right there that what the light fastness ratings are. Watercolor artists help design them. They say for any pencil, it offers the most complete solubility. So, you know, essentially you're just drawing with watercolor. Highly concentrated, optimal light fast pigments, superb transparency. Cedar barrel, the long dipped end has the pencil color in it, which those match up like perfectly. I was very happy with that.
Compare it to the chart.
Yes, well, yeah, you'll see. Look at those screaming yellows. That's just very, very nice. I mean, and even their water soluble graphite is really, really water soluble for a graphite. Yes. Notice how those don't,
Beautiful.
with the ones that would have more white in them, don't just disappear, right? Even the white you can see. They say that to avoid soaking the leads for very long because they will dissolve. You know, some people stick pencil in the water for a minute with a watercolor pencil and then draw with it. If you do that, these are very soft because they're just like beautiful sticks of watercolor. They will just disappear that fast. They say that you can actually apply these on a waterproof material with a rough surface, like if you got a Yupo or something that had a nice texture to it, so you could actually color swatches on it and then paint from the swatches.
Oh, cool.
Because that sanded or kind of gritty area would hold the pigment, and then rather than having to carry the pencils with you, you could make like a little palette to carry along.
That's
just
smart.
for a dab of color. So yeah, that never thought about that. That was pretty cool. So I mean, these are very nice. Really blue blues, really green greens, the
phthalo.
oranges, the scarlets. Yes, yes, the phthalo is.
That French gray is beautiful.
Yes, it is. And the Prussian blue is just right. Look at your phthalo green, Katie.
I saw it first.
Yeah, I saw it. I was there. I'm cutting the swatch out. All right. So that is the Caran d'Ache Museum
Aquarelle.
Yes. Sorry, I was thinking the word and it wasn't coming out of my mouth. I'm getting over a migraine for just about an hour ago, so still a little on the crazy. All right, so going from there to the Raffinate pencils. Obviously, if this comes in a cardboard box with a hang tag, this is not going to be your professional watercolor pencil. There's nothing wrong with that. They're a really good value. It's a set of 36 for a really low price. But that being said, the color is still pretty vibrant.
It's still pretty vibrant.
For what it is, it just becomes kind of hard to control and kind of travels on you, even with the tighter texture of the paper. But look, I mean, dry, it's actually, excuse me, actually pretty concentrated. I mean, that's a pretty decent dry. It's not like super dry and dusty, right? So it's not quite as vibrant as it wet, but it's still got good color pop. And for the price of these, this is pretty decent. Now they don't come in open stock, so that's gonna be a thing. But at this price, if you're not, you know, blowing through them, you know, you're just using them for kind of other applications, who cares?
Right?
You know? And it's a set where if you take it on a trip and you lose it, you're not gonna go cry, because some of these sets are like $400, you know? So
How much is that one, do you know?
can you check and see what the 36 count Raffinate is, Amanda, for me? We do say it works well over permanent ink drawings, which any watercolor pencil will do. It does include a little brush, so you don't even have to have a brush. It's just a little teeny tiny.
Right now it's $21.99.
Yeah.
It's
So
on sale.
so yeah, so 36 pencils for $21. It's for journaling and stuff like this. These
Yeah.
cannot be beat. You know, you're just not going to get the, you know, guaranteed light fastness ratings and those types of things with this, because it's just a basic set. But it's still pretty, you know.
It'd be great for journaling.
Yes. Yep, exactly. All right, so there's that. All right, Derwent. Derwent has multiple watercolor pencils. Everybody always thinks of Inktense first. Not all that they do. We've got,
You should pull all the Inktense.
yeah, well, it's just there's a lot of blue. It's very confusing. Plus the Inktense and the watercolor look the same,
Yeah.
kind of. It's just ultramarine versus Prussian blue, right?
Peacock versus boat.
Yeah. Peacock trumps boat. No. All right, so these are an assorted set of 72. Open stock and sets. There's tins, 12, 24, 36, 72, and there is a wood box. Oh,
This
now
is the
I've
one
done
you
it.
dropped.
Oh, yes, this is the one that went flying, isn't it?
Yeah, that
Thankfully, I
color.
already done the, this is an OCD person's worst nightmare. Look at this. Katie's gonna start having a twitching eye and all of that.
It makes me want to fix it so bad.
The dipped things don't match, I don't think, the ends perfectly on those. And it's so far away with that dark in between, it's really hard to pay attention to one or the other. 3.4 millimeter lead. The barrel is 6.9 millimeters, which is actually a little smaller than some of the other brands. High quality watercolor leads, good light fastness, use wet or dry for a variety of effects. Vibrant color is unmatched. They don't have a lot more copy than that, even on the Derwent's website. You know, and God love the Brits. They're very like cut and dry. This is what it is. Yeah, let's have some tea. Not helpful for buying art supplies. Let's work on some pop for that. Now, this is their regular watercolor set, and this is why I think that their Inktense is so like loved. These are not really just. Brightness doesn't make me happy. It's a lot of color. It's a lot of color. And with this, I actually pulled the color to the side to see. This was kind of how I was doing them first, and then I didn't like how it worked. It's just not as vibrant as some of those other brands that we have looked at so far. But it's also not their most expensive one, the Inktense is. So,
Right.
so it is what it is. They do have light fastness ratings on their print information, their color chart, but I don't think that they put them on the pencils. Let me double check. And there's also a set of the metallics. These are the metallics. I don't know if you can see the sheen to them here in the darker spots. Now this is actually on cold press. This is before I got the hot press paper. It's still hard to see in kind of my view. But this is what the metallics look like. Yeah, and there's not light fastness ratings on the pencil, so you need to have that chart with you. You can see kind of the pearly sheen to it. So you get some kind of natural metals, you get some pearl colors. This only comes in a set of 12. You can't buy them open stock, and they're great for doing on dark paper. They give really nice color pop. I mean, that's really awesome, but they're also a watercolor pencil, so it's like, why would you do a metallics in it? Because that just disappears. That's not metallic or pearly anymore. So as a straight pencil, that works pretty well.
Patty was so excited.
What, with the metallics? Well, if you use them dry, Patty, it's perfect. I mean, you can see them dry. And if you, oh, you know what? Here, Patty, we've got some, I'm going to cheat ahead just for Patty with the black watercolor ground. Let's see how bright they are on that. That will make Patty happy. I don't.
Whoa.
Yeah, see, look at that.
That's pretty.
That's nice. Let's get a nice, oh, where's the copper? Yeah, so see, something like that, but it's like, why make it water soluble? Why not give it, you know, some wax or oil where it would be that much more kind of translucent? That seems kind of like you took a really cool idea and then went, oh, never mind. Oh, that's nice, pretty. Yeah. So see, this would be great on like that, the Strathmore black or the Stonehenge black paper. That would be really fantastic. And this ground is absorbent, so you could take water and actually, what?
Oh, they're saying they're gonna get back, but anyway.
Get back. I don't know what this will do. it pulls the color and makes it pop. You can kind of see it over the, you can see some of the color over the, let's do it with the metal. Is Patty not as happy with me now?
She said, "Love ya, Amy."
Okay.
And then, ooh.
The copper actually looks kind of nice with the.
This is pretty.
Okay, so see, this is doing it with that actually is nice. You can still see some nice sheen.
Yeah.
You could go back over it to enhance some stuff. So, all right, it's redeemed itself. Hopefully Patty's happy now. All right, so that is the regular Derwent watercolor pencils. All right, we'll kind of pick up these, and after I did this, I was like, yeah, those sheets are too big. The size of Nebraska.
Yeah, they're big.
Yes, all right. So then we have, put these away so we don't get
We have a
too much
repeat.
color. It becomes very confusing. Yeah. Well, if you're figuring to drop one, better this than the museum.
That is true. But
Wow,
the
we
museum
didn't-
wouldn't have fallen because they're in foam things.
Yeah, that's true. We really dented that pretty good too. It's like can't even get the lid back on all the way. Doo-doo-doo.
It went flying.
All right. Okay, then let's go to the Cretacolor Marino watercolor pencils, and they are. That's Aquarelle. Marino. There we go. What was that went down there? Are we gonna need it?
Prismacolor.
Okay. Yeah, we don't need that. All right. These just come in a little box set. Sets only 12, 24, 36. Light fast, highly pigmented, which Cretacolor is really good for that kind of stuff. So I have no doubt that that's the case. I think that the packaging on them is basic, but I think the way they've done the pencils is really pretty, but Cretacolor is kind of good for that. Soft leads for easy application, which they were very soft. Brilliant colors that keep color strength when dissolved in water, and that's all they have to say about that. Compared to the other ones, they're not really as brilliant. This is their kind of bottom of the line, you know.
They're student grade.
Yeah, they're not designed to, you know, redo the Mona Lisa in a watercolor pencil, but it's, you know, these would be perfect for journaling. Just one layer, you don't have layers sticking everywhere that you got to fight with, you know, and it decently vibrant. The fill, they were soft where it did do the fill pretty nice in this really rough paper. So, I mean, that was nice. Now, a couple of them got, this one and another one was strangely waxy. I couldn't figure that out. The application was like, felt different, almost like they accidentally crossed a colored pencil over into the watercolor. So that is just kind of their basic set from Cretacolor. Now, we'll go to the brand that has the packaging that we always love, and then we're like, why? Why?
Bruynzeel.
Yes. Bruynzeel. Tell you what, this is beautiful packaging. It's got little drawers where you pull the pencils out, and these great little foam holders. And the pencils are just slightly smaller, but have a nice thick lead where it's really comfortable in the hand, and they're just beautiful. And the color ends don't match the tip. And then, to make matters worse, no open stock. Which then you'd have, I guess, this really beautiful gift box to put other things in, but not helpful. Sets are 12, 24, and 48 designer pencil sets, 3.7 milliliter, if you're thirsty, millimeter, even comes with a little brush. Lead, double glued cores with light cedar casing. I mean, they're a very fancy pencil. They sharpen really nicely. They have gum arabic in the binder for easy color release. Premium pigments, highly light fast. They're not bad at all. The biggest issue that I see that I had problems with was that anywhere they've got the whites in them, it just kind of disappears. with that lighter kind of scribbling, you know. And I mean, when I'm doing it, I'm doing it heavy like this, and then I'm going kind of like this. So it's just a very light kind of gliding it across, but that's still, with some of these other brands, it's the same application. It's pulling a lot more color. That just really gets very light. So, still love their colored pencils.
I know, I did
that
love
small set makes me very sad. So that is the Bruynzeel Design, but now they're also a pretty reasonable price for the box set. So if you're just wanting something like, especially for a gift for somebody that does like mixed media or something, a Mother's Day gift for somebody that does mixed media, I would totally take that, even not being able to replace the pencils. So, all right, so that's the Bruynzeel. Then we've got the Derwent Inktense, which I know are very, very popular. And I will say that I never understood the hype until I did the color charts, and I was like, woohoo! This stuff is awesome. Very pretty packaging. You gotta love it. Dark blue. The plastic, why? It's the Brits. Let's just make it economical. Open stock and sets, 10 sets, 12, 24, 36, 72, wood box set of 72, a 4mm core, an 8mm barrel. These cores are, that's a sizable pencil. I mean, and look how vibrant that is. That comes right off.
It's on your finger.
I know. But that's how quick they break. I'm not even like sweaty or anything. It's just coming up.
Ew.
No, it's, well, some people get the
Sweaty
nervous
watercolor.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweaty color.
Sweaty color. The great thing about these is, okay, they're not so much a watercolor pencil, they're an ink pencil. It becomes soluble with water, but when it's dry, the color is permanent. You can go back over it with other things. And it's not going to lift up. You could use, you know, acrylics over it or anything. With these, I pulled the color just to see how much color and then tried re-wetting. Nothing comes up. I mean, that was kind of exciting. And look how stinking brilliant those colors are. From, I mean, this little bit of darkness, and then that's what that turns into. That's really exciting to me. Now, you need the color chart because they don't put the light fastness on the pencils. It's okay. I've had British cars. I know how they roll. You just have to do your own research. And it's totally fine. But that's exciting. Very little color to apply to the paper to get that rich color. They are a firmer texture than most watercolor pencils, I will say. You do have to pretty much scrub it in, and that's pretty dry for application purposes. And this is a cold press, not the rough. So it still didn't even like fill in. The fill wasn't as nice because it was dry, but obviously you're using that wet is the purpose, not,
Yeah.
because that just lights right up. Yes, so beautifully dark. And when I was doing these, working on these color charts, this was actually done around an engineering firm when I was sitting waiting for someone, and an engineer, which is the last person you would expect to come look at it, was like, "You've got Inktense, that's so exciting!" And he uses it, and then was going on and on about using it for underpainting and then going over it with other things. And I was like, okay, well,
Surprise!
apparently that's the stuff even with the less artists. Yes.
Are these the only pencils that become permanent after they dry?
The Inktense are the ones that become permanent, yes. Now you can varnish them, obviously, and some of the manufacturers actually say you can use them with varnishing with a archival MSA varnish, spray varnish, and that will make them permanent. But as far as ones that you can then go back and work over, the Inktense is it. So
Additionally, do the blocks also do that?
Yes.
I know we're going to talk about this later, but
same thing. Yep. Yeah, we'll look at those in a minute. So, all right. So Cretacolor, they had the less exciting tin of the basic ones. Here is the Aqua Monoliths. Now this is some pretty packaging. These are woodless, so even though this is plastic, they at least put a nice little thing that you can't not pull on them. Look how pretty that is.
Ribbon.
It's just beautiful.
You can just pass that over.
Yeah, it's very pretty. Sets only, though, Amanda. 12, 24,
There ain't no wood. That's
36, and 72.
That is a good point.
6 times the pigment in the barrel-less pencil.
Good Lord.
So each of those is like 6 watercolor pencils of something else, right? Artist quality pigments for brilliant paintings, excellent light fastness through their line. You can shape the point either to a sharp point or kind of trim it for a chisel tip. So you can do wider stuff, no waste. Shavings and stuff could be saved for washes or like custom colors.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? You could do a, what is the gray that Gamblin does, but do it with your watercolor shavings. You know what I'm talking about. Gamblin does.
What do they
No,
call
I,
it?
Gray.
huh?
Tort.
Yeah, toward gray. Yeah, you can make your own Cretacolor toward gray.
I went totally like.
Yeah, that's
comic
okay, I
book
couldn't
character.
remember
don't know
either.
what happened.
So that's nice. Now, not quite as vibrant because there's obviously a lot of white put into the lighter colors. You can see with the yellows especially where the lighter yellows kind of disappear. The lighter greens kind of disappear. But I will say it kind of is the same throughout, so at least it's consistent where you don't have some that are like super punchy, super dark. Even the black isn't super dark. The tones are really nice. They all work really well together, and it did hydrate really easily, so it became soluble without fighting it or really scrubbing. So it's not that bad, and the price on them is very inexpensive. For
Yes, it is.
Is it? Okay, Amanda's already looked. What is it,
The
Amanda?
72 is only 125.
Oh my,
Which
that's
isn't
pretty good.
bad.
No, not bad at all. For considering it's 6 times the pigment.
Yeah.
You know. So now, as far as, I don't know if on their color chart it's got the light fastness ratings. They're usually pretty good about stuff like that, so I would hope that it has all that. But I like it. It's that smaller kind of barrel, like the Bruynzeel that I like. That's kind of a little grippier. So that is the Cretacolor Aqua Monolith Woodless Aquarelle. Very pretty to look at. Sorry there weren't metallics, Patty. He's like, oh, no copper. Okay, now go in there. Doesn't wanna, it's got like a pokey thing. There we go. All right. Let's see what we got next. Let's go to, all right, so this isn't like, I put it in because you can put this in your pocket. It's really awesome. Just put it in your pocket with a pen and a little travel journal. This is 12 pencils in here that our Daler Rowney makes. Now, I did not do the colors on them. Let's see. Do we have a minute just to try a couple of them just to see what they look like, Kate?
Yeah.
Let's just see what some of these. Just for a wee little set. It feels really nice. They're reasonably soft. Actually, really reasonably soft. Woo.
That's right.
That's a yellow. One more. Yeah, they, I mean, feel that rough press pretty nice. All right. Whoa, that's nice. And look at that. Let's do the lighter first so we're not pick up quite as much, but that's not unusual with yellows. I mean, that's not bad for a little set of 12.
That blue popped. Oh,
Whoa.
that was surprising.
It did that a lot with a lot of the violets in the sets. So
Katie is
that's
surprised.
it's got a bunch of
I was
little
not expecting that purple. I was
some
expecting
earth
a bluer.
tones, a couple pastels. It looks like a set that'd be decent for just doing a little bit of landscape and out. But 12, a dozen pencils that can fit in your back pocket. Would be fantastic for traveling, or just if you commute on a train, or put in your backpack.
Yeah.
Waiting for your kids at soccer practice.
A train,
Because
a
goodness
plane, an
knows.
automobile?
Yes. Or even your desk at customer service, Amanda. So, I mean, that's not a bad little set, and they're really inexpensive. So,
It's really cute.
yeah, the colors, I mean, those colors are really nice and vibrant for what they are. All right. So, that is just the Daily Brownie Nostalgia Watercolor Pencil Set. Now, we did the Derwent Studio Metallics, Staedtler Carrot Aquarelle Watercolor Pencils. It's down here. All right, now I need to figure. Oh, there we go. Another basic kind of set. 10 sets of 12, 24, 36. Brilliant fade resistant color. Strong leads for less breakage. Washes direct application. One of their points is that they're pre-sharpened. Yes, they are. I was like, okay, but now they did say fade resistant color. They don't specifically say light fast. Okay, so that's kind of the buzzword for it's just a basic, more student grade pencil. But I mean, that's not for journaling or something. The colors are bright enough. The kind of pinks and stuff that have whites don't really wash out too badly. So, I mean, that's not a bad little set. There's not really, other than the black and some of the other ones, there's not really any really dark values, I know, that's really pretty. I did that one and was like, oh, Katie's gonna like that. But I mean, that's not bad for just more of a kind of a student grade basic kind of run-of-the-mill
No, it's not bad at all.
set. So that is the Staedtler Carrot. We are done with the pencils. We are going to go into the watercolor sticks. Watercolor sticks kind of encompass a different variety of things. Winsor Newton makes watercolor sticks. Everybody knows Winsor Newton from their regular paints. But how many people knew that they made watercolor sticks? Did you know, Katie?
No. I missed the question.
Oh, that they made watercolor sticks.
I saw the after party. When it was
Yeah, okay, well, so
So-
you're cheating. But they make
I saw the
40, they
answers
make
before.
48 colors of
Wait, really?
watercolor sticks. Yes. Open stock, 48 open stock colors, and they make this 10 set of 10 to try them out. Made from the same pigment as their professional artist watercolor. Incredibly light fast, super permanence, unique square barrel, 48 colors. Look how vibrant those are. I just quickly scrubbed these out like on here before we started, and look at how bright they are. And that is a Prussian blue. Thank you. Frida and I were like, yay, Prussian blue.
It's beautiful.
And there's your Thayla green.
They friends.
Because the Windsor was.
Winsor Newton ones?
Mm-hmm. Yes, these are the Winsor Newton ones.
Maybe
But I mean,
all the Prussian blue.
look at how nice the yellows are, nice and poppy. Nice lemon yellow with the Windsor. Not bad at all for just a basic.
Prussian's really pretty.
It's not super soft. It's not super hard. It kind of, really leaves, you can see the texture easily. But how fantastic would it be to use them as a sketching medium that then turns into paint,
Yeah.
So especially on some of the things that have the grounds. So that's just the set of 10. Imagine with the 48.
Right?
I know. Other colors would do. So that is the Winsor Newton professional watercolor sticks. Then the Derwent Inktense. I find they call these blocks. I do not think that word means what you think it means. Oops.
That's the pencils.
Oh,
I don't think you.
No, I don't think that was the box that I thought it was. No, but okay. So blocks mean something different to me. Blocks means a block, like Starburst or chewing taffy, not a Conte stick. This looks like a Conte stick.
Yeah.
However, that being said, open stocking sets, tins of 12, 24, 36, 72, they match that entire Inktense line. So this color is going to be the same in the Inktense pencil versus, you know, blah, 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 blah. If you're used to drawing with Conte, these would be just fantastic. Let's try. I've not tried this stick. There's no reason to do the color chart because if I did it in the pencils, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious to see what it feels like as far as the application, if it's just harder. Oh, that's very, I like the feel of that. Look, and it's not really coming off.
I was about to say, where's my table?
Oh, that's nice. Let's grab another. This looks pretty. Now it is more crumbly than the pencils. Oop, and snappy than the pencils. Wow, I figured Amanda would have had something to say about that, and she didn't.
I was trying to find a link, sorry.
No, that's good. That's good.
I was doing my gerb.
It got me. You're in the gerb. Okay, so this was kind of how the Inktense looked, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Look at that. I mean, look at how much color you can pick up from those little scribbles. I mean, look at all that color. That's then gonna become permanent. Oh, Katie, look, I got your number. So, see, nice dry sketching medium. And you can make it pretty much completely water soluble. That picks up, that's just with a Kolinsky sable. That's picked up all that dryness.
Pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive. So, and it's nice if you like that stick feel. It's no more brittle or soft than Conte is. Slightly crumbly, obviously using it on that heavier textured paper since it's rough, but not bad at all. That's really pretty. And you might want to wear gloves because it does transfer to your hands a little bit. Well, just what? Yes.
Can you just like wet a brush and touch those?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Want to?
Yeah, sure. Want to try it?
Yeah.
Lots of people are saying that's how they use them.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's try this. Whoa. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's nice because you could draw with them, reuse them almost like a pan in a way. What are you guys laughing
It's
at?
literally what Frida just said. It's essentially a watercolor pan.
Ooh.
Great minds, Frida. Yeah, that's
So
nice.
people are offering to buy these used now.
You'd be fighting Amanda for things. Probably not these. Huh?
So that's not a lie.
All right, so that is the Inktense sticks. So that's
drooling over
pretty
here.
exciting. And that would be great for like doing mixed media stuff.
Yeah.
Do some underground. That'd be great for grounds under pastel,
Ooh,
like regular soft pastel.
my mason paper.
Well, yeah. All right. So then, with the sticks, we'll continue with the sticks. And now, I've got dust everywhere. Daniel Smith makes watercolor sticks. If you're familiar with their extra fine watercolors that Amanda, Frida, and I have become incredibly obsessed with, haven't we? We get a little stipend every month, and we've been stockpiling our stipends together and buying regular colors and making our own pans. But now, then I find that they've got sticks.
Also, I just heard they might be making pans.
Yes, they
Yeah.
are.
Woo.
I know.
There goes my
'Kay.
whole life.
Yep. Okay, so check this out. You can break these apart and use them in just separate containers,
See, I love
or
the
they come in
little-
containers of 5.
They look like little pill containers.
They
They
do.
do.
This one's beat up because this is mine. These are quinacridones that these ones here I just love. And you can see where my sticky grubby hands were holding the thing to do the swatches. This was what they looked like. That was just popping those out like that. Look at those pretty quinacridons. And that was doing it with very limited light, very late at night, but that's how much color you can pull off of those. It does make some kind of interesting texture if you want to use it as a drawing medium, but then it lights up pretty easy with a brush.
Is that a Rhapsody brush you're using?
Yes, it is. But I mean, look, that's very light. And just look how just a tiny bit of water pulls that up. So those are pretty cool.
I think that's a size
On
10
rough
too,
paper.
Amanda.
Yes, yes it is, Amanda. Unlike the size, I
Massive.
don't know because it was a sample.
Love
It's not printed because I got the, I get the prototypes.
It's got 22?
Yeah, it's probably at least, might be a 36. I don't know. All right, so
Oh,
that
that's
those are
20.
those with these. How many colors? Do you want to take a gander and guess?
137.
No, no, but I like what you said. 51 colors available,
You
but for
should ask
sticks,
me, I have the notes.
51 colors.
That's still a lot of colors.
That's a lot of colors. They're the same sticks as their professional watercolors. How about each stick equals 3 full pans, Amanda?
Holy cow!
3 full pans with each of these sticks. And an even cooler thing with them, the sticks are a single price point. There's up to series 4 in these sticks, right? And anytime you add a series and it goes up, the price goes up. They're all, it's a one price point across all of them. I know, right?
Did I see Moon
Fantabulous.
Glow on that list?
Yes, Moonglow is on that list, actually. It's the kind of purpley reddish greenish one. You can sharpen them to get a more precise drawing tip. They are made in the United States, so they're a US product. You can use them dry to build texture. And these come in just the set of 5, and I think this is like $3 or $4 for this little case. So
love the
it protects
cases.
those and keeps the moisture out. They're just really fantastic, just like their watercolors. They make me happy, but that orange.
That's beautiful.
You like the green, but I
That's
can
right.
appreciate a nice
I
screaming
like
orange.
that Quinn Gold up there.
Yes, well those are, I got those all to do nature drawing.
It's beautiful.
Don't laugh at my nature drawing. I'll give you nature. All right, moving along. All right, so that's pretty much all the sticks, right? The sticks. Now we're moving into the pastels. What's the difference? It's going to be slightly different. The Charvin water-soluble pastels painting sticks come in a set of 48. They used to come in smaller sets. We're just doing 48 now, apparently. Everybody always wants the 48. Nobody wants the...
It's probably why.
You want more. You always want more. Now, curious thing about these, people would get them and be like, it only has the top, there were not all the colors. It's only 24. Turn it to the side, V-groove, ta-da! They would send them back because they couldn't figure out where it was. That's okay. I mean, unless you've dropped them and that's how you found out, Amy. Don't ask
I
me
actually think we did do that on one of the
how I
colored pencils.
know that. These are just, I'm going to get something that's a little less dirty. Grab another block. Sticks are 2 inches and 5/16 long, and they're 5/16 deep. Now these are much more like a dry, like a semi-hard pastel. So you can use it more like a hard pastel. You can see it crumbles like that. You can hear the dry. I like this purple.
Close up of your arm.
No, there you go. So it sounds like a new pastel or something like that does. But they've got gum arabic in it,
Sounds like my hands are
so
gonna
you
get
can
dirty.
take them And yeah, no, I'm getting dirty. You can take those and look at that. That's really pretty. With that little bit of,
That's pretty.
mm-hmm,
Hey, Amy,
yes.
back on the Daniel Smith train for a second.
Yep.
Do you find that the sticks granulate as good as well as the like when you paint it on there with your brush?
What, if I would take it and paint the stick to paint it directly on the paper?
No, they granulate out like you have on the moon glow in the Daniel Smith.
I don't know because I haven't used it on anything but the hot or the rough press.
Okay.
I would. Where's the moon glow? We can just try it just to see if you
Yes, let's try
paint it on the stick. Oh my god. Oops, nope, these are the ones.
Let's lose the moon glow.
It's not. No, it's not. My fingerprints are on these. They've been cleaned. Plus, moon glow is my favorite. That was the first color I purchased from the. Okay. All right. So, so let's try this. So this is the moon glow from Daniel Smith. This is just wetting the end down. Not scrubbing it. I'm just kind of like gently patting it because I don't want to. Yeah, that's pretty. It's gonna granulate.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if
Pretty
you color
decent.
on it and then you do it, do you think that it will do something?
If I dip it and like dip.
Well, the
And-
way you did it with it dry.
Too late now.
So see, you can wet it, and I love how it looks black, and then you. So see, it's starting to granulate. You can see it as it dries. It's going to pull away more because of that.
Because the way it sounds.
Yes. If I really like wet the stick first and let it kind of really soak more, it would do it more.
Someone asked that, and I thought it was an
Yeah.
interesting question.
No, we'll set it aside and we can look at it in a minute since we're already kind of doing this. Anyway, let's try the Charvin with it wet like that and paint on because I know that. Let's find a. What do you think of blue? Getting icky. So see, you can do that. Just being a drier stick, it's harder to. You have to kind of keep going back over it. Let's do this. Oh, that's nice.
That's pretty.
So see, you can do kind of either or with that.
That's surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm. So, so these can be used kind of in a, number of ways. I want to see what this color looks like. Just kind of wet down. And look at that. That's nice. Those are actually very, very pigmented. That's pretty impressive for just a little stick,
Yeah.
Do you find that the colors mix pretty well?
I don't know with those because they're a semi-hard stick like that. They're gonna have a lot more clay in them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they would mix as well. Now, probably the way to do it would be mix them dry.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try that. We'll do
And they're light fast.
we don't have light fast ratings on them. They say that they're pretty light fast and they're Charvin, so I would imagine they're pretty. All right, just gonna get them dirty. I mean, look, that blends
That's
pretty much
pretty.
right.
By itself.
You know what? I'm gonna move this so we don't get color charts onto. And you can see the dust for it, right? These would be great for journaling and stuff. They're inexpensive. What are they, like 20 something bucks? 26 bucks or something for the.
That's pretty.
Yeah. So see, that made a nice.
Wait, the Charvins?
Mm-hmm.
They're $11.99 for 48.
Shut up.
Oh, so see, this would be perfect for just doodling at that price. Yeah.
I think we have a set that comes with like a bag and those sticks and a water bottle.
So see, that was this color and this color. Look. So it did make an orange.
Yeah.
So
So So you probably need to do it before you wet it. In general.
I think that would probably be the easiest, but as long as you re-wet it with a brush, it's gonna pick the pigment up either way. So, all right. So note to self: if you order these and get these, it's in there, nestled in. Don't worry, they're there. All right. So that is the Charvin water soluble pastel painting sticks. Then we've got water soluble oil pastels, and people are like, "What?" Seems like
They're like, what?
what? This seems kind of like an oxymoron. Oil, water soluble. No, these again are just only sold in sets of 12 or 24. There is just the regular assorted colors, which I have dropped and broken a tip off, of course. What? These are 5. I do like these though, they're really fun. I demoed them at AOC a few years ago and just like over there just making myself very happy. All right, so they've got a pearl set. Can you zoom in on that and then so they can see the pearl in the just the traditional colors? Pearl set is the set I have not dropped. The other one big set. I know. The blue. The tragedy. All right, so let's do some. We'll use this blue since he's. All right, so see, you can see how waxy, like lipsticky. Look how nice that fills that rough texture. See the pearl? Just gonna wet a couple colors. All right, one more, sunshine yellow.
Do you think these are more or less lipsticky than the Marabou?
About to the same.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think they are. Let's do. No, they're to me they feel about the same. All right, so that's the regular color. Now this is the not pearlescent. It doesn't have quite as much. That other one was much stickier. See how that's not as filling as much? The pearlescent needs that extra oil to get that shimmer, right, out of it. So that's why that looks different. Come out. I'm kind of doing this just so we can see what the, yeah, these are definitely drier. I don't want it.
See green polka dots
I'm
all
getting
over the studio.
Icky. Icky. All right. Yeah, these are definitely drier than the pearl, but that's by design. All right. So, oh, you know what? I don't want to use a natural brush for this since they're oil-based. Use a synthetic, so I'm not getting the nice Klinsky. I mean, look at how wet that wets very quickly, but you can still see the pearl sheen to it. Look at that. See the pearl? Well, it's hard to see it at that angle. Why are you laughing at me?
Frida and I are like,
Oh. Okay, can you see it like that?
Yep.
Okay.
these are the Mungo?
Yep. And these are very inexpensive too.
Yes, they are. Trust me, found that price. $15 for the pearl.
Yep.
Less for the not pearl.
Yep. For a set of 24. So something that can go on, you know, it can go on paper, it can go on canvas, it can go on, you know, kind of whatever. Let's blend those together. Now that's the regular, that's not the pearl. But notice how, I mean, it's drier, but it still dissolves pretty easy. You know, you can just use that with a brush, paint it on the pastel, and pull that off like that. They're just mineral oil based with some sort of probably a surfactant that kind of allows them to become water soluble. So those are the water soluble oil pastels. Okay. So let's close those up so I don't get them everywhere. Katie's being funny. All right. Now we've got
my forehead, but there's marker on the back.
All right. Now we've got the Caran Classic Neocolor II, which are a water-soluble wax pastel.
Pretty set.
Okay. Yeah. set of 84. It's very heavy. Very, very heavy. Ooh. Oh yeah.
Stay.
Now this was the one thing I didn't, the way they did this tray was not smart. Oh no, you know what? No, I'm sorry. It's Caran d'Ache. Remember, Amy? Look, and it's got the foam on the bottom of it.
Nice.
These are wax water-soluble pastels. And you think, okay, wax, that's not going to be very bright. That's not going to be very clear. That's not going to be very vibrant. May I suggest you're wrong? That's...
Holy cow.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, sorry. And there's some normal colors too. But look, they actually do gold and silver. Those are still shimmery when you wet them down.
Dave, how do these differ from oil?
They're wax.
I mean, like,
Sorry, I'm sorry. So I'm sorry.
in the application.
It's no different. You apply it. It actually still feels almost as creamy. It's just a little drier because it's wax, right?
Okay.
Without that oil to kind of soak in. It feels like the regular oil pastel ones that weren't the pearl, that were drier. But I mean, look at how crazy bright that is. Open stock, which says what? Quality. Yes.
Professional.
Quality, professional. 10 sets of 10, 15, 30, 40, and 84. That's that Big Mac Daddy set. There is a wood bot set of 80 that's got 40 of the Neocolor I, which are a oil-based pastel, and then of 40 of the wax-based pastel. 4-inch long sticks with an 8-inch diameter. Exceptional light fastness, which it's Caran d'Ache, so that's kind of...
That's the thing.
I think
The
that
name?
Caran d'Ache. Light fastness. Yes, yes.
How would you, what was the question? Sorry. How would you seal each of those?
How would you...
Would you be able to seal them the same way, or?
Yeah, you could use the MSA varnish with
Okay.
it. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if they would react differently.
No, it should work just fine. They say use wet or dry for different techniques. It says wax and oil-based smooth application, crumble-free. It wasn't crumbly at all. They do dissolve completely in water, so you can dip them and work with them, but you don't want to sit them in water because they will
Disappear.
They will
So
disappear.
they won't act like a resist for regular water.
No,
Okay.
Nope, not at all. They do make, the other ones will. The Neocolor I.
Okay.
So these, I think, were by far my favorite out of everything.
Beautiful.
Even over the museum
That is
ones.
some high praise.
That will just, okay, it's because I like working with oil pastels, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway. But then this was water soluble, and you can't beat
That might be the prettiest
the
color chart that you
brightest
just looked at.
colors. I mean, that is, it punches you in the face. These with the whites in them are still very, very bold, you know?
I feel like it's October when you hold us out.
I know. It looks like a fall day.
I know. Yeah, those reds are just, and look at the blues and stuff. My only sad thing was there wasn't like the Prussian blue could have been darker.
The indigo's
But
pretty.
the oranges and reds made up for it, so who cares? Can put some more black in it if I want it darker. Because that's Prussian blue. All right.
Worth it.
So those were fantastic. I was very impressed by them. Now they are a price that's pretty impressive. I don't even remember, but it was
170.
for the 84.
Which
Not
not
that bad.
actually.
No.
No, because they're very concentrated. You wouldn't like need to be scrubbing on them, doing a lot of stuff. So, so those are the Neocolor II. Carrot Aquarelle Watercolor Crayon Set. Hang tag. So where do we go? Where do we go from there, Frida? What does that hang tag mean?
Student grade.
Cardboard box. Little paper things. Yes, and pull. See how there's wax bloom on them? That color has become dull and really clouded. Yes. Easiest way to tell is with this. You know what this needs to be? This needs to, it needs to be cleaned up. Okay. Look. See the wax bloom? See the difference? What? Oh, like I haven't gotten enough.
That was the table.
That was not the table. It was the little piece of stuff. It's not the table. It's some canvas, some cotton canvas. Tell them the truth.
It's the canvas on the table.
Yes, it's fine. But yeah, you can see what the wax bloom looks like. Now let's see how these react with water. So they don't pick up like super great. They do, but look how quickly in trying to blend them, it disappears. So it's more of a set like, this would be a great set if yeah, these are much brighter and better. This would be fantastic if you want to get the Neocolor II for you and you have a kid at your house.
Yeah.
Look, here's your own set of wax crayons. Ta-da! You know?
I was just saying to Amanda that these would be for Timmy.
Yes, I was thinking that Timmy may get these. Just don't tell him Amy colored on the table.
Hey, Amy, somebody wants to know the
Yes.
difference between the Neocolor ones and twos.
The ones are the oil-based, the twos are the wax-based.
And so the oil ones will work as a resist for watercolor.
Yeah.
Yes, and they'll work for working with encaustics.
Ooh.
You can use them directly with your encaustics.
I really wish they'd named them something besides 1 and 2. 'Cause
Yeah.
it is
I know.
forever.
Yeah,
confusing.
no,
Because
it's,
one is not water soluble, and
Yeah.
two is water soluble.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're the Swiss, they're neutral. You have to, they don't want to take a firm stand on it either way, so you're just going to have to go with it. All right, so that's just the basic set of the Staedtler watercolor crayons. Marabou mixed media art crayons. These are the ones that we love and we've played with on different episodes. They're very lipsticky. They come in this beautiful little,
creamy.
So lipsticky.
like you can
No mess.
turn them to get more out. Oh, you hear angels sing when you... What? It's just so smooth. These are the smoothest by far of anything that we sell. Even over the Sennelier oil pastels, which to me you're like, well, just that applies so smooth. Yes, like butter. Let's put a couple. Plus the pigmentation is fantastic in these. These come in open stock and they come in sets of 4 and 5. They're light fast, water soluble art crayons, lipstick smooth and creamy. They come in these closable applicators, which is great because they do get on stuff if you don't have them closed up. They're similar to high-end oil pastels. God, look at that. Woo! Yellow makes me happy. They work on most substrates, so you could use them on plexiglass or glass or metal or whatever, just like oil pastels. God, that's just, I'm barely touching that and that much color comes off. They're wax based, even though they've kind of got a little bit of oil in it. They're water soluble and reworkable up to 3 to 6 hours. Okay, so you could play with them for 3 to 6 hours, potentially, depending on kind of your climate. In 24 hours, they're fully cured. You can
That's
varnish
cool.
them and do whatever.
Even in North Carolina.
Yes, now look at that.
Okay.
Look at that. I'm gonna leave half of it. Look how much I just got out of that. And that's dry. Look how bright that is.
I have such a crush on Marabou, man.
Mm-hmm. It just doesn't sound as exciting without a Scottish accent, though.
No,
I'm so used to Celia.
Her.
I know, Celia, we missed you. Look at that. That's beautiful. That's definitely a phthalo base. You can see it. Look at that. Look at that, how dark that black is. So that's fantastic. Soap and water cleanup on these.
Oh.
But I mean, look how fun and bright and stuff that is. Those colors remind me of Matisse. That set is like, whew, it looks like it should be like little cutouts of leaves and doesn't look like, yes, that too. That's
Marino
two.
in stock?
All right, so that is the
think so.
Marabou mixed media art crayons. Yes.
Are those up in stock?
There is open stock of them, yes. All right, so that's kind of all the sticks and the pencils and all of those things. So now we're going to look at the watercolor primers. Daniel Smith, I don't even, they're crazy. Well, look at this. Katie, zoom in. So they've got an iridescent gold, because you know, why would you not do watercolors on iridescent gold? I primed those first with white gesso and then put that on. That's like 3 or 4 layers, I think. There is a buff titanium.
Patty.
Yeah, there is a pearlescent white. Now that one I will say, that's like 4 layers, and I was starting to get tired. I was just like, come on, just stick to the thing already. There is a clear. This is just this cotton. Whoa! Save the pineapple coconut. What would have made me very sad.
That was half off. Did
That
you
was
see
it. Was more than half off, and not in price. Hanging off the side of the thing.
Oh, this
That
is
is
the one
clear
you did in
watercolor
the...
primer for the stretch canvas that I did.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's what I
Flip
put
over
clear
so you can see the
watercolor
back
primer
so you
on
can
it.
see.
So it's a canvas I stretched myself, just out of the same cotton that we use on the table, on the stretching thing. Yep, clear watercolor primer.
Can you talk about application?
Yes, in just a minute.
Okay.
Then they've got the like now all these things, they say they create a soft ground with a slight cottony texture. So when you're painting on it or drawing on it or whatever, it's got a little bit of grip to it. It gives a surface similar in performance to cold pressed watercolor paper. For most of these, it allows lifting and scrubbing without damage, unlike regular paper.
That's cool.
It's very cool. You can frame it without glass if you use an MSA archival varnish on it. Also very cool, because then you can be putting things on panels.
Any watercolors on it?
Mm-hmm. What? Like, remember how we did with Grumpy Owl? Just, it's light coats, light coats, light coats. It's just not removable
That's
after
cool.
the fact, right? On the absorbent surfaces, they say no special prep is needed, but you don't thin it. I did not thin these when I did them. Just brush them right on. Soft synthetic hair brush or foam roller brush for a smoother surface. Use a hog bristle brush for a textured surface, which is what I did with that. I actually wanted to see, because that's the light dimensional ground, I wanted to see how 3D I could get it. So that was just kind of plastering it on with hog bristle brush. Seal the surfaces that will promote support-induced discoloration first. I put Vigac 100 on the ones that weren't sealed already with gesso. See, look at that. That basically makes where you can get like a rough, it says cold pressed ground, but I did it thick so you could get like a rough pressed,
That's
almost like a
cool.
handmade paper. I mean, that looks just like paper.
It
You'd
looks
never
like
know
it
it's
has
on
like
a panel.
paper fibers in it. Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously we've seen the black. So that's the black from Daniel Smith. And it's got texture. Can you feel the texture to it?
Oh yeah.
It'd be a great sanded ground for
I would say it almost
soft
feels
pastels.
like a soft pastel
Mm-hmm.
paper.
Yep. So those were all of those. With the non-absorbent surfaces, like say you want to use it on a Lumicon panel, on glass, on plexi, anything like that, you're going to want to lightly abrade it with sandpaper or steel wool.
Give it some grip too.
Adhesion, adhesion, adhesion. Yes. The titanium white ground you can use for a whiteout on any of the white surfaces. So to go back in, if you don't want to use white wash or something.
Oops.
Take a brush, thin it out a little bit, use it as your white to pull the white color back. So that's all the Daniel Smith ones, and then we just looked at the golden ones. The golden absorbent grounds, they say mimics cold pressed watercolor paper, fluid media, so watercolor, any of these sticks, inks,
Yeah.
fluid acrylics, all of theirs are acrylic based, and they all say that they endure like really serious lifting and scrubbing, which
I feel like they would.
fantastic. I liked that the texture you could get out of those two thicker grounds. This is just the titanium white that then Charlie went and put his foot on.
Thanks, Charlie.
Well, but you can white that back out. But this is just on, I did this on ampersand, just hardboard. Put some of the GAC 100 on it first, just to seal it, and then just did this to see what it would look like. And I kind of made kind of a weird texture with it because I wanted some, can you see kind of the brushy texture to it?
Yeah, I can see it in the shadows.
Okay. Other than the Charlie footprint, that dog. They say that you can use rougher texture for dry brush techniques, what have you. All of these you want to cure the first coat, like let it sit overnight so that it adheres really well. And then with your last coat, let it sit for 24 hours. Just so it's all good and bonded, so you're not wetting it down and making anything lift up. So it's cured really well. So, I mean, these would be awesome. Can you imagine the oil pastels and the art crayons and stuff on these, or even some of these watercolor sticks and stuff? I mean, even with this, you could do, because it's a textured paper like what we were doing, you could do some really like serious illustrations and stuff with some of the watercolor pencils. So, but it'd still be absorbent to wet it down, but it's a nice hard panel. Then you don't have to frame it under glass because it's paper, because it's a nice hard panel. So it just gives you lots of options. Questions, because I know there's probably going to be. All
right.
Amanda's got a list.
There were a couple that we got asked at the beginning, and I just saved
good.
them.
All right.
What's the best
clearing the
way
throat.
to sharpen
Crap.
your watercolor pencils?
By hand with a hand sharpener. Something with like one of the Coom pencil sharpeners that has a really good durable blade to it that stays really sharp for a long period of time. Those are what you want to do by hand, because you want to take off the least amount of material, right? Because it's pigment that you're losing every time you sharpen. And if it's not a wood, yeah, that's a great one.
Don't cut yourself.
Other than that's the one I cut myself on during the colored pencil after party. They're really durable. The biggest issue is if it's not woodless and then you're using a pencil sharpener like this, you're grinding the wood pieces into your pigment, and you're not gonna, unless you have some crazy microfine mesh to sift the wood out, you're not gonna really be able to save the color. But even with regular colored pencils, you don't want to use an electric sharpener. There's very few of them that stop immediately as soon as that pencil's sharpened. So, yes.
Okay, how can you apply it where the pencil marks won't show? That's the thing that I hate the most about Floyd.
You're gonna have to look at different brands. The softer the better, because that's gonna leave less stuff. Not having it super sharp is also going to leave less pencil strokes, but you're not gonna get as tight of a detail. And varying the amount of pressure with your hand. If you're pushing down harder, it's gonna leave more of a mark than if you're doing it lightly. And higher quality pencils, your professional brands, are going to perform more like watercolors and less like a pencil when you wet them. It's the lower end ones that you're really gonna see the strokes in, the easiest I noticed.
Those Inktense ones almost disappeared.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, I remember from the colored pencil after party that you were telling Mike to color in circles. Do you think that would help too?
Probably so, yeah. And paper type, that was really rough paper. That's gonna leave those divots and stuff. If you're using hot press, you're not gonna have that.
Okay.
Like that, or even just a smoother cold press. If you watched our watercolor paper episode, we did it on everything. Even we did UPO, we did hot press, all the different types. Not everything that's cold press is really cold press. Some of it's rough really more, some of it's really more hot press. So it's the quality of the pencil, how you use the pencil, learning to vary your hand pressure, and what type of paper you've got.
And that's also, the last question was which ones liquefy the best, but that, you just covered that too.
Yeah, I mean, we saw from the
Higher quality
swatches,
softer.
yes, from the swatches, which ones really broke down the easiest. I will say that one of my friends came to visit. That was one of my college friends, Tammy Rockefeller, if she's watching. This is done with that Bruynzeel set. She loved it. Isn't that just stinking adorable?
It's so cute.
It's
I love it.
Katie, can you zoom in on this crazy
I
llama?
love this one.
Yes, that was done exclusively with the Bruynzeel. She wanted to be able to show, look at these great pencil lines. She's such a draftsman, where you can really see like the pencil lines with the fur, but then some of it's broken up more so it looks like paint. I mean, you can see where she's gone back in dry with some areas. That's just fantastic. But she's also like an incredible illustrator too. So, and was my art guru in college. What? Everybody's got that friend that tags along, and Amy was that friend that tagged along.
I am that friend that tags along.
Yes. But she was helping me go look at some of the different ones and do color charts, and I was just so happy watching her do that. This is done with Faber, but it's with the Magnus watercolors. But it was done on hot press paper. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. It really lifted and picked up because there wasn't enough paper grain. But I mean, you can still get really good detail and stuff from that. And it's a hard enough pencil where you can go back in and get pretty fine lines to make it more like an illustration. So that's with that. And then this was with the Caran Museum Aquarelle. I just wanted to see how much with really light washes that would pick up, being really a watercolor paper or watercolor pencil. This is an incredibly soft Spanish paper, Garza Papel, that we don't carry anymore, and it's not really sized as much, so I wanted to see how the watercolor pencil would react on this much softer paper. I mean, it still gets really nice tight detail being soft, which, because you can see kind of here how it's blended out where it's gotten softer, but I mean, it kept really great detail. So those pencils are, and you can see, you really can't see a lot of like harder line pencil marks unless I really wanted you to. I mean, I left them in some places, but you could get rid of it very easily, even with a not sized very well paper. So that was just trying some of the brands versus just a color chart. I thought about doing an illustration for all of them, and I was like, yeah, the color chart's much quicker. So, any other questions? Yeah. So it's a lot. There's a lot of brands. There is huge variation from professional to very, very much more student grade / just for fun / journaling / something to have if friends or kids or whatever come over that you know are not going to take care of your really good quality stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt to have that. Say
You
it
want
from
to tell them about the
experience.
after party?
Yes, the after party, we take poor Mike, the guinea pig, Mike Goldstein, and we go through all these different brands, and he gives really great feedback when we do this on the after parties, kind of from trying these brands. It's one thing to sit and do color charts and then switch. It's very easy for me to say, okay, I remember this is soft, this is this is that, because this is what I do. Mike, that's not what he does. So he gives like, I think the best, most candid, like just very right off the cuff, like reactions to how the different pencils compare to each other, you know, how saturated, how much the color pops up, and we go through every brand and we try all of them. So, so that's what we talk about during that after party and joke around like always. So, so that's there for you to watch if you'd like to see all those up close where, you know, color is actually coming right off the pencil with us using it rather than
4K.
just the charts. In 4K. I feel like you should be like, 4K! Watercolor pencils, Saturday!
Sunday.
We'll post the notes from this, the only 11 pages of notes this week, Katie, as opposed to like the 17 from last week, in the Facebook Live group. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully this kind of gave you some education on some different brands if this is something you were interested in, or you found something really cool new to play with that just could enhance what you already do, or just be something fun for a change of pace. And Frida and Amanda are already like eyeing the table like so and hopefully, you know, you found something pretty cool that you can give a try. So have a great week, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.